What is up, guys? It is Boston McManus here, and today I am going to show you how to install the Core i7 processor into your Lenovo IdeaPad y510p. For this video, unfortunately, I am on vacation right now, so I do not have the Core i5 with me, but I will be able to show you the Core i7 in the socket and how I installed it and how to get into it. First things first, you want to open up the back and take out your battery. If you watched my previous video, you know how to do this already. Set that off to the side, and then for this one you will need to take out your graphics card. In the other video, to get to the back panel, it is optional, but for this one you will need to take it out. And then you start taking out the back panel screws. You need to take out 9 screws. There is a total of 9, so make sure you take all 9 out. And once you are finished taking out the screws, you can get into the computer. So just hang on for just 1 second while I finish taking out these screws, and we will continue the video from there. Alright guys, now we have taken out all of the screws from the back panel. Same as before, you pull up from whichever corner you wish. I pull up from this side generally, and it comes right off. Set that off to the side, and once you are in here, you are good to go ahead and start working. For me, I like to take out components just so that they stay safe, stay unharmed. So I'm taking out the RAM right now, just like that. You do need to take out the hard drive cage. So you just undo these 2 screws like I showed you in the previous video. And then once you undo these 2 screws, same as in my last video, hard drive cage just slides back like that. Now I do recommend you put the screws back into the hard drive cage so that you do not lose them, because there will be a lot of screws in this video. You do not have to do this right here, but I like to do it as an extra little precaution just so nothing gets damaged. I'm taking out the wireless card. Sorry guys, we are back. I had to get a different screwdriver. That one was not big enough for the socket. So same thing, just leave the screw right in the card here. Helps keep track of your screws, because once again we will be taking out a lot of screws. Now, once you're in the back here, you need to start taking out every screw pretty much that you can see. Now there is 3 screws along this side panel right here where the graphics card goes. You need to start and get all those screws taken out. They are very tiny, so be careful with them not to lose them. Then after you get those screws taken out, you need to start undoing some cables. Set these 3 screws aside so you do not lose them. Keep them together. Now after you finish that, you need to look for screws that say M.2.5X10. All these screws help keep in the keyboard, which is what you need to take out next. These are the same size screws that go on the back panel, so if you want to, you can just go ahead and set them with the back panel screws. That's what I'm doing. So once you get those out, the keyboard will get freed up, and then once the keyboard gets freed up, you can continue with the process. So give me just 1 moment here while I finish taking out these screws. And there is quite a bit of these screws, so make sure you get every single one of them before you start trying to pry at the keyboard, because you will damage your components if you do not take care of it and take out the proper screws. I've taken out a total of, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 so far. I've taken out 5 of these screws so far. Here's another, here's 6. Basically, you're going to take out every screw you can see, except for these screws on the heatsink and these screws on the fan. But these big screws that you can see, you're going to want to take those out. And then there's another one right here. While you're at it, undo this little cable right here. This little cable, it's right next to the wireless card. And yeah, make sure you unplug that from that slot right there. Also, unplug your display from this slot. It's a fairly large cable. Just like that, it plugs right into there. Make sure you unplug that. Alrighty, now we are ready. Should be ready. One more double check, make sure you get all the screws out. Alrighty, looks good. Alright, now you flip it over, open it up, and here comes the sketchy part. This part is very scary, so make sure, if you're not comfortable with doing it, please do not do so. I do not take any responsibility for what may happen to your computer, so do this at your own risk. Now, open up on the side over here. This is where I like to open up, where the all your ports are. You can see I already got it started a little bit. I open up just a tad bit, let it come open, work its way open, and then just pull a little bit, and what you just heard crack open was right under here. These little clips right here just clip on, just pull off gently so you do not damage them, because they do help the structural integrity of your computer. So just slide your finger down that crack, let them pop open, and then once you get enough room, slip your finger up in here and push out on your keyboard. So that way, you can do it another way. If you want to, you can stick a screwdriver or something like that down in this slot and just pry it up, but I like to push from behind because I don't want any chips in my keyboard. And actually, the first time I disassembled this, my escape key popped out, so just be careful with that. Keep pulling slowly, you'll see it come up, and it is attached with ribbon cabling. So get this ribbon cabling. Now with this design here, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to pull back to undo these latches. So with this one, you pull back on this right here like that, and it releases this ribbon cable. Same with this one, pull back, and it releases this larger ribbon cable, and now your keyboard is free. You are good to go. You could set that off to the side. Now in here you need to do the same thing. Any ribbon cabling you see, you need to unplug. So with this one, pull back on this slot right here and let it pop out. Same with this one, pull back on these slots. They can be quite finicky sometimes. Alright, so with these two cables that I was showing you earlier, you just lift up on this little black panel right here saying to insert them back in. They insert in like that, and then they push down. So to remove them, you just lift up right here on this little latch, this little black latch right here. Lift up and it slides right out. You do not need to worry about this one over here, you just need to get this one as well. So once you have finished with those ribbon cables, it is time to move on. Now here comes the tricky part. This is a part that hung me up for quite a while. Under here there is a Lenovo sticker. You can see right there I punctured through it. there's a screw under there. This is how it voids your warranty. So just to let you know, this does void your warranty. This processor install that I'm showing you guys right here voids your warranty because you are breaking through this Lenovo sticker right here. So do this at your own risk. I take no responsibility once again. So here we go. You just puncture through it. Lift the screw out. Once the screw has been undone, you can go ahead, flip it over, give it a little jiggle, let the screw fall out just like that. Now this is a different size screw once again, so keep that by itself. And now you should be free to lift. Once you start lifting, again, make sure all these clips in the back are unclipped just like that. Lift slowly. Do not lift quickly. It will not come out perfectly. It will take a little bit of work and it will take a little bit of effort to get it to come out the way you want it to. You just lift nice and slow. Jiggle it a little bit and work with it. And if you need to, double check. If you feel any resistance, make sure you get all the screws. Now, for this, there are some little clips right here in these holes. You just undo them like that, push down on them, and then the panel starts to come off like that. Also, remember you need to take out your SD card protector as well. It won't come out with that in there. I always forget that one, and then it pops right out just like such. Alright, so now you are in the guts of the computer. This is the motherboard area, and you can see there are more screws. As always, there's always screws whenever you want to do any work. So you take out the black-headed screws this time. Black-headed screws that look just like this. Small little screws. They are separate sizes, so keep them away from the rest of the build. If I were you, I would get a little bucket and label them. These would be motherboard screws. You have the keyboard screws. You have the back panel screws. Then you have the CD tray screws right here, or in my case the graphics card tray screws. And then what else do you have? Then you have that one little screw that goes in a Lenovo sticker, and the rest of the screws you can stick back in the components. So you get that one screw out. There's one more right over here in this bottom corner. It's real easy to see. They have little arrows on it, and they also have writing on it. So once you get those screws out, it will lift out of the tray. Now you're going to feel some tension, you're going to feel some resistance. That's because you have your fan holding it in. You have a fan holding down the motherboard. Now you want to also undo this screw right here. This is your power jack screw. And then you slightly pull that out. This has a different screw as well, so keep it separate. Now you have to undo the speaker also. Once you get the speaker out, speaker is out. It is kind of hard to get the speaker out properly because it does have rubber grommets over the screw holes, so you do not screw up the what am I trying to say here? So you don't screw up so it doesn't vibrate. Sorry, I'm thinking. Then turn the computer back over, let it kind of hold in your hand, and then there's let's see if I can do this with you guys seeing it. There's a sticker back here. Peel this up a little bit and then unplug the CPU fan right here, just like that. And then same thing. You can do this before you try and pull out the motherboard, or you can do it while you're trying to pull it out. I like to do it while I'm trying to pull it out because I can see where I'm getting caught up on, as long as you do it gently. Alright, so there is your motherboard, and it is free now, except for the screw that is holding in the display, or what is that for? It's a CMOS cable. So when I installed my processor, I left that in. I just peeled up on the cable like that, and then I flipped it over and set it down. So as you can see right here, this is the computer itself. This is where the processor is. This is where the heatsink is. When you're uninstalling these, be gentle because it's not sitting on a sturdy platform. I mean, it's your laptop, but it's not a flat, solid platform. If you want to remove the whole motherboard, you can. If not, just remove it gently. Do not give it too much force. So you just unscrew like that. All of these screws, because this is one piece. This whole processor heatsink and graphics card heatsink is all one piece. So when you're unscrewing it, make sure you do these 3 screws. And there goes my screwdriver bit. Then you want to do these 3 screws. You guys, please remember also as well to ground yourself. I know it's kind of late, but hopefully you're not following me along the first time you're watching this. Hopefully you watch it, then you attempt it yourself, and you follow me along as you do it. So please remember to ground yourselves. There's a metal lamp here for me to ground myself to. There's a metal camera holder. So there you can see the processor right there and the graphics card right there. This is a graphics RAM. It has little thermal tape for the graphics RAM. It has thermal paste for the graphics card itself, and it also has thermal paste right here for the north bridge. And then, sorry, this is the thermal paste for the north bridge. This is thermal paste for the probably south bridge, south bridge right under there. And then these are for the RAM modules of the graphics card, and then same thing, resistors and RAM modules, thermal tape for it as well. So that is how you take it apart. To put it back together, I will do very quickly, and I will pause the video and cut out screwing in back the screws because you guys know how to do it now. One more quick thing. On this motherboard, it is a very, very tiny star key to get the processor in and out right there. You can use an Allen wrench, but it does not fit too well. You just turn it all the way to this side. It'll stop you when it's as far as it can go, and the processor just lifts right out. Like I said, I'm on vacation right now. I'm back home, so I do not have a star key with me, but it is extremely simple to do. Just be careful while doing it. So to put this thing back together, make sure when you replace your processor you have adequate thermal paste making contact between the chip and the heatsink. You do not want to skimp on that because you can fry your components that way. So when you're putting this back together, you want to start in a cross pattern. You don't ever want to do the same screw. It can be a pain in the butt to get the screw to get down in there. There we go. So don't do it too tight, just barely do enough to where it's holding down. Then you go back and hand tighten. You cannot tighten too far because it does have tension springs on these screws. So tighten it as tight as you can get it until it feels comfortable, and then the tension screws do the rest. Same with the GPU. You do the GPU evenly throughout. Do not tighten one screw too much at a time. Do it gently across the board, and then go back. Same pattern you used before. Tighten until you cannot tighten anymore, and the tension screws do the rest. So to get this back in, flip it over, set it back down. Now with this, you're going to want to mind your wires. Remember where your wires went. And then if you want, it's totally up to you. You can put your speaker back in now, or you can work on screwing down the motherboard again now. It's totally up to you guys. I'm going to put the speaker back in. So these wires tuck right under here. And then this comes right over here. Just tuck it all back the way it was. Should be fairly easy to track it, see where the screws all go. It's not hard to follow the wiring, it's set out for you. Set it down in like that. Get your screw for the power adapter, put it on. Once it's seated, screw it down just like so, and now your power supply adapter is seated securely. And then same with your speaker. Your speaker goes in the same way, same as before. Just set it down, get your screws, and then screw it back in. Just like so. After that is finished, you can go ahead and start screwing the motherboard back down. Make sure you screw the motherboard back down first before you decide to flip it over and screw the screws back in. So just remember where the screw placements went. On this motherboard, there's only 2 places you can screw them in at, because they are marked with white arrows right next to the screw holes, and they have nomenclature NM, which is November Mike -A03, Alpha 03. So November Mike -Alpha 03 is where you should be screwing those in at. I'll flip it over, plug back in your cabling like so. There's one right there. You can do as many cables right now, or as few cables as you would like. You can save them all till the end. You can get them all knocked out. I like to knock as many out right now as I can possible, just so I don't forget any, because I did do that the first time when I took this apart, and it scared me quite a bit because I forgot a cable and my display wasn't working. So please make sure you do that. So plug all these back in. Make sure they are plugged in properly and securely. After they plug in, fold the sticker back over. It's not going to stick as well as it did the first time. Mine definitely won't, because I've taken it apart twice now. So once that's done, go ahead and grab your panel, and your panel sits right back on top like such. Make sure when you're pushing it down, you be careful you got it on. You watch where it's going, you listen for those clicks in the front, because those clicks do hold this thing together. This computer is built on both screw system and a clip system, so if you do not clip it together, it will not be as stable. Take a look at it from down front, make sure it looks flat and stable to you. Go ahead and get that one Lenovo screw that was confusing the crap out of me, may have been confusing you guys as well. Screw that back in. You gotta push down on the plastic a little bit for it to catch. Screw that back in. Then get your cables, your ribbon cables, and throw those back in the slots Make sure those little black connector pieces are lifted up when you do so. Alrighty, once you've gotten those all screwed back in, remember, put your SD card protector back in its slot, because you do not want to get anything in that slot. Want to protect it, it's there for a reason, right? So let's use it. Go ahead and slightly close your laptop. These little connectors right here, these little clips earlier that you had to bust, you're gonna have to put them back together just like that. You push in from the inside of the laptop. I'm pushing in right up here on this front panel, just like that. I'm pushing in on the back as well, just so that little connector piece, when you push together, oh, it'll clip together. Some of them are really hard to get, but they will go back together just like that. So just go ahead and keep working at it till you get them all clipped together just like that. Once that is complete, you can go ahead and get your keyboard and slip your keyboard back in. Now the keyboard has clips along this edge right here just like that. Go ahead, the keyboard is made out of metal. Go ahead, just give your keyboard a once around. Look at it, because the keyboard is flexible, and if you bend it, it will stay bent in that shape. So just make sure it's bent flat again. So get your ribbon keys, your ribbon cables, and open the ports back up, because I did not touch mine, but they did close back together. So open them back up, make sure they're ready to go. Put your cables back in the ribbon ports like so, just like that, and then push them closed. Same process as when you installed or took it out, just the complete opposite. Slide it in and then push this locker back down, just like that, like so. Now put it in at an angle like that, just like a piece of RAM. Just imagine this being a giant RAM stick, and then push in at all the corners like that, and you'll see it's good when it's all flush everywhere. Go ahead, close your laptop back up, flip it back over, and you can do this in any order you want to. I like to knock out these 3 little screws first, because these screws are very tiny and can be lost easily. So put those back in those little slots right there. Now you can work on putting your components and your screws back here. I'm going for the Wi-Fi card, getting the Wi-Fi card installed back in. Screw it down, reattach my cabling like so. Tuck the wires underneath the plastic molding just like that, nice and neat. RAM, same thing, put it back in, tuck it down, put it back in, tuck it down. Hard drive, same as before, complete opposite. Put it in, slide it forward, screw it down. And my screw bit keeps falling out. Just like that. And then that's it for the components. If you want to, it's up to you guys. You can throw your graphics card back in now, or you can do it later. It doesn't matter at this point. Now you need to put all these screws back in where it has the little keyboard emblem. Let's count. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, There's 4. I just threw one in over here, so that's 5. And then we'll double check. A good way to double check to make sure you're not missing any screw holes is to count how many you have left. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I still have 2 screws because you only need 9 screws to go in this back panel that goes back on it. So I still have 2 screws left over to find the slots where they go. One right here. And then I don't know where the last one goes. Have to find it real quick here for you guys. So that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where's the last one go? Ah, right here, under this ribbon cable, under this cabling. Just like that. Screw it in a little bit, push your cabling out of the way, because you don't want to screw down on the cabling, it can cause it to fray. So there you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Should be 7 screws back here. If I miscounted, I apologize. And then throw this back on, clip it down, make sure it is clipped all the way. Like I said, I like to go from one side, make sure it's all clipped in, and go back to the other. And then you screw back in your 9 screws, which takes quite a while. This probably is for me, it's the most frustrating part, because you're finished building it, you want to turn it on, you want to see that new processor installed, and this part takes forever because these screws, there's 9 of them, the threads are tiny on them. So just have patience. Everything's got to end sometime. And it'll take even longer if your screwdriver keeps falling apart like mine does. So I'm just about done. I have 1 screw left. I am going to boot this on screen for you guys. I will not show any changes. I will not cut the video. I will not make any cuts, edits here whatsoever. Throw on the back battery. This clip will clip by itself with the battery when you put it in for the video card. Clip that back down. Now here we go. I am going to show you guys the boot of me completely uninstalling this and reinstalling this right now. So I will turn it around so you all can see it properly, and we will go ahead and press the power button. And as you can see there, it is booting up. That's a good sign. I have no screws left, and bam, it's booted right in. And that's the perks of having a solid state drive as well. It was ridiculously fast like that because I have a solid state drive in there, Core i7 and 16 gigs of G.Skill RAM. So I hope you guys liked this video. I hope it helped you out with what you guys have been asking for. I'm sorry I did not have the extra processor here. If it really makes that much of a difference to you guys, I will do it again, and I will do a quick video just of the computer opened up at the processor, and I'll show you a quick video just how to swap them out. Hopefully I explained it well enough so you guys can understand it. If not, go ahead and shoot me an email or private message, any questions you may have. And yeah, I hope you guys had a great holiday, Happy New Year, and please remember to comment, rate, and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Thanks, guys.